Finally, we made it to Germany. We had snow, we had ice, so what a ride it was. We have just left Oslo and there's a lot of snow on the road. Now we are completely stuck here just outside of Oslo on the way to Göteborg. It looks like a truck is blocking the road and cannot drive up the hill, so we hope that we can continue driving soon. It took us 1.5 hours just to leave the Oslo area and we had to make an unplanned stop. There were weather warnings for both the Norwegian side and the Swedish side. The road was actually very slippery and icy. We saw actually a couple of cars who drove into the ditch. Our car was driving fine. It has this snow mode that works super well on ice, so we always had traction, but we didn't want to take the risk and drive on that day to Göteborg. So we decided it was safer to simply turn around and try again in a few days. Second attempt, we are preparing the car again to go to Germany. So let's have a quick look what we have here. This is the trunk. So we have the Type 2 charging cable. We don't really need it since we will only be fast charging, but yeah, nevertheless, it's good to have. Then we have these two bags here. They are basically cabin luggage for on the boat, and two other big bags that we use as checked luggage that we don't need to bring on the boat. One can here of wiper fluid, that's also very much needed. The ways are salted, so it's important to have some extra supply of this. Otherwise, there's still plenty of space, so that looks good. Then let's take a look here on the back part, where the kids are sitting. They're like pink, as you can see. There's one towel that I put there to protect the seat because experience shows that it is needed. And then they have here on the back of the seat this kick protection that they don't make the seat dirty, and it gives them some extra storage space. Other than that, here in the front, nothing special, pretty standard. I only plugged in this reader here to be able to read out the battery temperature. Yeah, so that's about it. I think we are pretty much good to go. In the front, I have not really anything to transport, just a few tools. So yeah, I think we are good to go. And we are back on the road again. We left Oslo with a full battery and the battery temperature was 10 and 12 degrees, minimum and maximum value. Now we're on the way to Strømstad, where we will have our first charging stop. And just as expected, the battery conditioning kicks in about half an hour before arriving at the charger. Alright, let's plug in the car and start charging. It starts charging. Goes immediately up to 130, 140, 150, very good. 170, it's 0 degrees now. 180, good. We are in Stromstad now, actually at a burger place to have lunch. So we arrived here with about 50% battery and the battery conditioning was working well. However, I could see the consumption went up from about 22 to 25 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. On the other hand, the charging also goes super fast. So I guess we charged here actually to 100%. It takes again 8 or 9 minutes to 80 and then from there about, 20 minutes to 100%. So that means once we are done eating here, we can basically leave with a full battery towards Göteborg. The weather is a bit challenging today. The highway was partly closed and very icy, so some truck had basically turned around, so they needed to close a part of the highway. But other than that, it started snowing now. But so far so good. I think it's important that the roads are salted well, because the drive today went otherwise very smoothly. And let's see how it is now towards Göteborg. There is actually a warning for freezing ice or freezing rain that turns into ice. So we'll see how the further drive goes. Wow, it's insanely slippery. I almost fell because there's ice under the snow. So now walking back to the car that has charged to 100%. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, there are no more stats. It's just done here. Just plug it. So now I need to refill the liquid from the windscreen thing, because that there was so much salt I needed to use it all the time. So here I have it. So here it goes in, and I always bring this old Coke bottle top here. So let's see whether I can put the camera here. Close it. This thing goes back in here, little frunk. I also have a tool here to basically, this is the 12-volt battery, to basically unplug it in case the car doesn't start. But so far that happened only once. So we arrived in Ioniq and I just plugged in the car. It had an insanely high consumption of 27.9 as you see here. We were driving through this slush of basically snow that was melting, and it was also in certain parts a bit icy, just 0 degrees. So I think I never had a higher consumption than this one. Of course, plus also the battery preconditioning. But the benefit here is you see 9 minutes to 80%, and I think 35 minutes to 100%. So I think we'll just stand here half an hour and take a break, because we are really early. It's now 20 to 3 and our ferry actually leaves at 18:15. It's the last possible check-in, so we are very good in time. But I'm happy to be here because of this ice warning. So now it's just, I think, 40 minutes or so to Göteborg. So it's a very relaxed traveling. And on this space here is always bad weather. I was here, I think, only once when the weather was nice. But always bad weather. But at least it's not a storm now. You see the flags are hanging silently in the wind, just a little bit wind. Another thing I realized in this temperature, the air conditioning system is usually really good. You just put the temperature and the car is doing the rest. But now I found out when it's around 0 degrees, the car doesn't know quite what it should do. So suddenly the windows get foggy, and then the best thing is to basically switch on the air conditioning in addition, because when it's so cold only the heat is switched on, not the air conditioning. This basically means you put the air conditioning in manual mode by activating the AC. I can show you here. Let's see, turn around the camera. If you click here on climate, right now only this heat is on. Right now it's actually good, there's no problem. But if the windows get foggy, just click on AC in addition, because then the air is drier. And also put the ventilation, let's say on 3 or maybe 4. It's the same also when you drive into tunnels. Usually it goes automatically. I think now switch it back to auto mode. Usually it happens automatically. I think this car has one of the best air conditioning systems I've experienced. But yeah, especially in this weather we are driving in now, it happened a couple of times when you go through tunnels, and then sometimes it's below 0 and sometimes above. It gets a bit foggy, and suddenly it got actually also hot. So by doing this manual mode thing, it takes 2 minutes and then the fog is gone. Ferry with 86% battery, and the consumption went now down to 21.9. So this is something that I would expect in this kind of weather. Now, of course, the battery preconditioning was not active since we didn't drive to a charging stop. The check-in with Stena Line goes usually very fast, and we could quickly drive onto the boat. So let's take a look at the cabin. So this is this 5-person family cabin. So you can have one here, one there, 2 here, and one here in the bunk bed. And it has a view, but of course right now it looks more like a mirror. It's just pitch dark outside. And the good thing is, if you book this, it's actually for a family quite not really cheap, but it has the best value in terms of the price. When the kids were smaller, we bought this cabins view that was really expensive, and then we had to buy twice. So now the total price is much cheaper for us when we can all stay obviously in one cabin. And it is well, actually quite spacious. I've seen other ships where it's smaller. And here the bathroom looks actually all pretty decent, and this is like a standard cabin, so it's not like business class or anything like this. So really good. There are some hotels that are not as good as this. And here we have the emergency exit kind of thing. We are now here on deck number 10, and it's actually a bit confusing which stairs you have to take, because they have some stairs that don't go all the way up or down, so you always need to search a little bit. We arrived now here at Lüneburger Heide West. First time I'm here at this charger. There are 4 Ionity chargers. And well, we plugged in the car. The battery was preheated. We arrived with, I think, 29%. It took 15 minutes to 80%. And well, there are quite a few restaurants in the resting area over there. So the family is still eating. So let's see how much the charging state is. Just turn the camera around. So yeah, here you see the 4 Ionity chargers. There's actually also one over there from EMBW, like a German provider, one 225 kilowatts with, I think, 2 outlets, if I see it correctly, and one older 50 kilowatt charger. So now let's see how long we have been standing here. Yeah, again, it's the old 28 minutes and we're at 94%. So you cannot eat lunch in this short time, but that's great. I just, well, obviously let it charge until the family has finished eating. And then we take our next stop in Auetal Nord, a bit west of Hanover. So this is the first time I'm taking the route here via the A7. We usually take the A1 via Bremen and Osnabrück, and now we take the A7 Hamburg, Hanover, and then what is it, Bielefeld, I think. So let's see, but so far very good. There's very little traffic. I think it's yeah, it's a Tuesday, so the people who travel privately, they don't travel until maybe Thursday, and there's relatively little traffic for from the, let's say, cargo side. A few trucks, of course, but let's see. And actually this yeah, resting area here, it seems to be pretty nice. They had the McDonald's that made fresh food, Nordsee, where you can eat fish, and the coffee shop. So this is definitely one of the better ones. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, it's 10 degrees outside, so it's actually pretty warm. It's no comparison to Norway or Sweden, where it was -7 and then around 0 and snow. So this feels almost a bit like spring. So now we have the same charging speed basically like in summer. Here it's 95. Car is good to go. And so far there are also no queues here, because on the other route there might be some waiting time on the chargers now, because they have become much more popular in the recent years. So yeah, let's see then how it is on the A2. Other than that, yeah, the car looks pretty dirty after the ride yesterday with the, look at this, all this kind of salt is like here. But other than that, yeah, the consumption was really high, 25 kilowatt hours per 100, if I remember. It was insanely high when we started, and I drove actually only 120, so I didn't drive really fast here. But I remember our old Ioniq had the same, especially on this route from Kiel to Hamburg after the ferry, when it's also cold. The consumption was really high, and then it evens out a bit during the day. Another thing I have to pay a bit attention here, I have Nordic winter tires, so they have this, let me see it somewhere, they have this speed rating that is a bit lower than the Central European tires. Let's see where that was. I saw it, I think it was speed rating Q. Yeah, here it is. There, Q, so that means we can go maximum 160 kilometers per hour. Not that we need it, but it's good to be aware, because sometimes when you overtake somebody, you can go faster than that. So we're at Auetal Nord, just plugged in, came here with 50%. I was actually driving up to 160 kilometers per hour. So the battery warming stopped quite some time before. It's only 13 degrees actually, so it's really warm. And yeah, we see that here, 180, 88. Do we see the 9? 190. Hangs under. Anyways, it's really think it takes again like a few minutes. So we are at Abortr Nord at the Ioniq charger, and as you can see, it reached again 85% within 17 minutes, and the family is still having a stop. So we would be basically, turn the camera around, we would be basically good to go to the next and final stop. So actually we would not have needed this stop, but I didn't know how the traffic would be and so on and so on. So I think we will manage with 3 stops today. And yeah, well, exactly like last time, we just let this run until everybody is back. So it could be again 100% when we leave from here. We're here at the last charger, Lichtendorf Nord, our standard charger. Was here last time in October. It's almost the same weather. It's now 13 degrees and rain, so it does not really feel like winter. The drive until here was really good. It was, I think, the fastest we have done so far. So this route via the A7 was really nice, and there was not too much traffic, so I could actually even drive fast. Have a quite high consumption though, but yeah, that's just the way it is. I think I had 29 or 30. Maybe I forgot to film it. It was a bit difficult to get on here. Now we are driving on to our final destination, and there is some traffic jam kind of forecaster on the map. So we'll see how long it takes. Usually it would just take 1.5 hours, but we could be looking at more like 2 hours. So the charger here is also quite busy, but we did not need to wait. Not at all today, actually. I mean, it's not travel season, so I hope they build more. During the summer here you see 2 spots for a new one. And now let's see where we are. 59, yeah, we're basically full again. I can see it from here. 95%. Fast 100, yeah, 95 and 30 minutes again. So basically you can, rule of thumb, fully charge the car in 30 minutes with this preconditioning. So that's pretty good. Finally, we arrived at our destination with 18.7 consumption. That is quite low. However, it took 1 hour longer than usually due to this traffic jam. 3 key takeaways after the trip. First of all, the car works really well in winter conditions. The heater, the windshield defroster and the traction, everything good. Second, the range is much shorter, especially when you drive fast on the highway. And third, the battery preconditioning makes only sense on the first charge. Afterwards, the battery is already warm and the car will charge fast anyway. Of course, this is only tested in these relatively warm temperatures. It might be different when there are sub-zero temperatures. I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching.